Hello, third graders. Welcome back. So last week we were working on starting to talk about division and how we were dividing. We're going to keep talking about division and dividing today. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how multiplication and division are related and a little bit of information about multiplication that'll make it easier going forward. So let's take a look at Mrs. Gillen's board right here. So you can see that I have an array right here. Okay, let me redraw part of it. So I'm going to skip count by twos because my row size are twos. I'm going to skip count by twos, and I'm going to write down the side how much I have. So I go 2, 4, 6, 8. So now I know how many total circles that I have. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to write a multiplication sentence that shows my board. So I know that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 2, and that this equals 8. 4 rows of 2 equals 8. Now let me show you something here. What if I take my board like this? Okay. I've rotated my board to the side. What happened to the array? Now, instead of having 4 rows, I have 2 rows. I have 2 rows of 4. Now, the 2's are the columns instead of the rows. So here, my 2's are my rows. When I go this way, my 2 stands for my columns. So now, let's take this array and let's skip count. And let me show you a difference. I go 4, 8. 4, 8. So now I didn't have 4 rows of 2. I have 2 rows of 4. Still equals 8. When I go this way, I've got 4 rows of 2. 4 times 2 equals 8. When I change it, I now only have 2 rows of 4, but it still equals 8. What do you guys notice about those multiplication sentences? As you look at them, you can tell that they are pretty much have all the same numbers, don't they? The only difference is that the 4 and the 2 switch places. Did the meaning of the 8 change? Nope, I didn't change how many circles I had. I still had 8 circles in both pictures. That stayed the same. This is got a really fancy name, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Sorry, boys and girls. This has a really fancy name, and it's a name that you will hear us say all year long, and we will use it a lot. And it's called the commutative property. And what that means is that in the multiplication sentence, the factors, the two numbers we multiply together, they can change order. They can change places, and it's still going to equal the same amount. So if we look at our picture there, 4 times 3 equals 12, but 3 times 4 up here also equals 12. So 4 and 3 can switch places, and we're going to have the same answer either way. Let's take a look at this with a different one. So if we look at my picture here, I've got my 2 rows. Each row has 5 in them. Let me skip count. 5, 10. I have 2 rows of 5 equals 10. Now if I take my board and turn it, I didn't erase any circles. I didn't add any circles. I just changed it. So now I don't have 2 rows. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I can skip count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 5 rows of 2, and it equals 10. 2 times 5 equals 10. 5 times 2 equals 10. Didn't change anything else. I just changed the order. So in multiplication with that commutative property, the numbers can change the order. The factors can change order, but it does not change the answer. Let me show you another one. Okay, let's take a look at this one right here. This has got 8 rows of 2. So let's take a minute. I'm going to skip count by 2's to find out how much that is. Okay. So So I go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, 8 rows of 2 equals 16. Now, in my equation, that first number 8 is how many rows I have. And then I take it times the number in each row, which is 2, and it equals 16. Now, could I change it this way? Now I don't have 8 rows, but I have how many rows? I have 1, 2 rows. Nothing changes. I can just simply say 2 times 8 equals 16. That's the commutative property, okay? Factors can change places. They can go back and forth, and they're going to have the same answer, and you will see that a lot in multiplication. So now you're going to go to part 2, and you're going to do the problems that Mr. Rush and I wrote down for you to do in there. Practice this, and then you can go do part 3, the homework, and turn that in. Please let us know if you have any questions.